Hello there, welcome to Get Started with Wirework. This is one of the most incredible mediums that you can hope to work in when it comes to making jewellery. It's something which is becoming ever popular on JewelleryMaker and something that we're really proud of here on the channel. We pride ourselves on being able to get as many gauges of wire as possible, and we have guest designers who are complete experts in the field and also guest designers who are learning wire work along with you as well. It really is the most incredible material to work with, and today we're going to learn how to incorporate wire into your pieces of jewellery, whether you're going to be using gemstones or whether you're going to be using just wire on its own. We're going to be starting off with the real basics of wire work, and hopefully you'll be able to make some incredible designs that look a little bit like this. Absolutely incredible pieces here. I'm joined by the lovely Laura Binding today, who's one of our wire work experts. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Fantastic. This is something which, how long have you been working with wire, Laura?
Probably about 5-6 years now.
Perfect,
yeah,
okay.
So quite a while.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is it that you love so much about working with it?
For me, I love the freedom of just being able to sit down and think, right, what am I going to do? And cutting off the wire and just playing about and seeing what comes out of it. And you can just end up with some amazing creations just by sort of going with it and, you know, having a play really.
Yeah, you really can do, and it's wonderful seeing it mixed in with the genuine gemstones. There are a few pieces on here. These have got genuine gemstones in them, and you can see just how much more versatile and how much more creative your jewellery can become. Here on JewelleryMaker, we give you the chance to come in and get lots of different gauges of wire. We give you 0.25mm gauge wire, 0.4mm gauge wire, 0.6, 0.8, and 1mm gauge. They all do very different things, don't they?
Yeah, they all have their own place really, and they all complement each other, so it's really good to have a nice variety of different gauges because you can do so much with different ones. They're all, you know, they all have their own sort of places.
Yeah, exactly. Have we got anything on here which has got the 0.25mm gauge wire?
Yeah, the caged pendant.
Ah, this one here?
No, the
this one here, perfect, yeah. Okay. So can you talk to us a little bit about what's great about this 0.25mm gauge wire you can see here? It's so thin, it's beautiful, isn't it? Gorgeous.
Yeah, and well, there's a couple of reasons really. I mean, it's lovely to use. It's just like using cotton when you're using it, which makes it really good for when you are weaving because it takes the less pressure off of your hands because it's so fine and easy to use. But it also gives really good detail, and it's also really good for creating patterns, you know. So if you use a thicker wire and then a 0.25, it creates a different patterned look. I have a bracelet here so that you can see how you can create. Ah, yeah, this is a great example. And you've used contrasting coloured wires there, which is lovely. Yeah, that's a gorgeous pattern. It's a beautiful weave, isn't it, that you can make out of that gauge wire? Yeah, I mean, this one is a 0.4, but you can still use the 0.25 to create that same different look.
Perfect. Okay, so your 0.4mm gauge wire, have we got an example of that?
Yeah, the Tree of Life is 0.4.
Ah, this is perfect. This is actually on the Wirework, one of the Wirework DVDs that we're actually going to show you a little bit later on in the show. So this is a little bit thicker than the 0.25mm gauge. I can see you've kind of twisted it here into more of a formed design.
Yeah, it's thicker, so obviously it's got a bit more structure to it. And again, it's been used on the weave of that bracelet. But the 0.25 is a little bit finer, so obviously you have to be a bit careful with that one. It can break a little bit easier as it would. It's very fine. The 0.4 has just got a bit more strength to it, so it's really nice for making tiaras and, you know, for the whole clustered effect as well. It's perfect for that. It's also perfect for the Viking knit, which is the Viking knit.
Ah, now this is this one over here, isn't it?
Yeah, and the earrings as well. And that's all been used made using 0.4.
Ah, gorgeous, look at this. Isn't that beautiful? And again, we're going to talk about the Viking knit a little bit later on in the show. It's just amazing what wire can actually do to your genuine gemstone jewellery. Without the wire in these pieces, they'd be lovely pieces of jewellery, I'm sure, but the wire just adds another dimension, doesn't it? It really does. Now, the 0.6mm gauge wire, this is probably the most versatile gauge of wire that we actually have here on JewelleryMaker. Where can I find a piece of, where can I find an example of the 0.6?
Kind of everywhere, really. It's inside that bracelet.
This one here?
Yeah, I've actually used it inside. So again, I've used the thicker wire as the base. I tend to use the thicker wires as what I call base wires because they're really good for creating frames. But the thinner wire is really lovely for sort of enhancing that. So that's 0.6.
So the black wire is the 0.6?
Yes.
It's lovely, isn't it? And can you make your own findings out of the 0.6
yes,
as well?
I haven't, I mean, they are all handmade findings. They've actually been made using 0.8, but you can use 0.6 as well. You've also used it for the wire jig as well on those earrings. Again, it's good for Viking knit as well, for a slightly thicker weave. You can use the 0.6. I wouldn't go any higher for Viking knit than the 0.6.
So it's still got that bit of flexibility, but you're heading towards a more structured, wire.
They're also really good for doing wrapped head pins and making your own head wrapped loops and everything like that. So they're perfect for that. And I'm actually going to show a demo of that in a bit.
This is lovely. Then we've got the 0.8mm gauge wire now. Is this 0.8 in this ring here?
Yeah, it's actually 0.8 and 0.6. Again, the black is 0.6, so you can still use it. Look
at that.
But you've got the 0.8 is the stronger wire again, and it's perfect again for making your own findings with, for making the more structural things, because it's still got the flexibility, but it's got the strength too, so it's stronger as well.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? It's incredible the amount of movement you can actually get out of this wire. And the feedback which we've had from so many of you who watch JewelleryMaker, and also guest designers as well, is that this wire is really flexible, it's very forgiving, and it's nice and supple to work with. It's not brittle.
No, it's very fluid, and it works really well with, you know, it'll do what it's told as such. The cage pendants used 0.8 as well, and again it's got a bit of the 0.25 to show the finer detail on that.
Isn't that lovely? Isn't that just gorgeous?
And that's just done, and again that's a project off of the first DVD as well.
Yeah, lovely. Now we've also got 1mm gauge wire. This is the thickest gauge of wire that we can offer you here on JewelleryMaker. Is this 1mm gauge wire?
The ring shank on that actually is, yes.
Yeah. So we've got a beautiful multi-gem ring here, which I'm sure you can see. The actual shank of this ring, so the bit that goes around the finger, there it is made using 1mm gauge wire. This is the thickest gauge of wire that we can offer you, and this is for your structured pieces, isn't it?
Yeah, you'll find that the 1mm wire is the frame of that bracelet. It's the frame of this bracelet. You know, it's what we use as a base wire for a lot of things. So when you've got the gizmoed bracelets, we tend to put the 1mm wire through it, as it's a very strong, sturdy wire. And it's also good for, again, keeping that strength, but it's very good for keeping the shape as well. So obviously the thicker it is, the more likely it will be to keep that shape and have that sort of solidness. Is it more difficult to work with because it's thicker? It can. It's not difficult. You just need to have. Just need to be a bit more forceful with it, I think.
Okay.
And, you know, it is a bit harder on your hands because obviously it's a thicker wire, but you know it's still perfectly workable.
Yeah.
It's just like I said, you don't tend to do too much work with it because you tend to keep that for more of your structures. I mean, this is 1mm, and I've done all of that using the same wire.
Even though it's a really thick wire, you've actually managed to get some lovely swirls there, some lovely curls. It's still a very, very workable gauge of wire. That's absolutely gorgeous. But again, you can't go too in depth with it because it is that thicker wire, and that's why the ring is I've just used a very simple shank and then sort of sewn onto it again with the 0.4. So that's how they go so well with each other. Yeah, gorgeous. So these are your basic gauges of wire. So we've got the 0.25, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8 and 1mm gauge wire. They're all used for different things. All together in pieces, they work beautifully in harmony, and you can make the most incredible pieces from all of these gorgeous gauges of wire. Now, we've got a whole library of DVDs here at JewelleryMaker. We've got, I think it's over 20 DVDs now. It's just amazing. I think one of the reasons why so many of you are working with wire earlier and earlier and earlier in your jewellery making hobby is because of these DVDs. They're absolutely wonderful. Now, I've got the first one here, which is, I think, is it the Wirework edition 1?
Yes, it is.
Brilliant. Now, did you film this DVD?
Yeah, I filmed all 3 of them.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. This is our first Wirework DVD. This is your basic Wirework DVD. Now, all of our DVDs are around about an hour in length, which is absolutely great. You get at least 6 tutorials in them, and they're all taught by experts in their field. So this all 3 of these Wirework DVDs have been filmed by Laura, and you learn 6 techniques. One of them being on this first DVD is the Tree of Life, which we saw just a second ago in this beautiful pendant here. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous technique. Now, could you get this DVD having never picked up a piece of wire in your life and start making jewellery?
Yeah, what we try to do on all three of the DVDs really is have it so that there's a mix of levels in there. So you have nice and simple, you have a few intermediate, and then you have the slightly more advanced. So on this one we have the herringbone weave, we have the Tree of Life, we have the spiral ring, which we've got a pink one over there. We have the Lucy cuff, and we have a couple of other things like that. Oh, the cage pendant.
Okay, that's okay.
So yeah, there's a lot, and the whole point is that you start off quite simple, and then you can get your confidence, and it's really good for getting your confidence up and giving you a few pointers.
I think one of the great things about these DVDs is you can fast forward them, you can pause them, you can rewind them, you can learn at your own pace. And if you're quite a visual person like I am, I like to see things in front of me. I like to see things happening in front of me rather than reading instructions from a book. This is going to be absolutely wonderful for you. It's a great way of learning, and you can't put a price on knowledge. It's absolutely wonderful. Well, this DVD, it's a great starter DVD if you've never worked with wire before, or even if you have worked with wire but you want to come back to some techniques and just refresh your techniques. This could be a great DVD for you. And do you know how much it is? It's less than £5. Now that is the most incredible deal for an hour's worth of knowledge. It's like having an hour tutorial with you, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and again, they're all split up into 6 sections, so you know, you don't have to sort of try and find the one that you want. They're all there in their own little sections. You just go straight to the project that you want to do as well, which is really, really handy. Yeah,
it's a fantastic DVD to get, like I say, if you're starting off with wirework, or if you're progressing in wirework and you want to come back and refresh something which you've got a little bit lost on. It's a great way of just adding tools to your jewellery making hobby. Now, this one is £4.95p. We've got loads and loads and loads more of these DVDs to bring you in this short show today. In fact, I've got the Wirework 2 DVD. I've got the second Wirework DVD as well. Okay. And did you film this one as well, Laura?
I did, yes.
You've been busy.
I have.
So this one here, you're obviously going to learn this technique on here, which is really, really lovely. This is made using the 1mm gauge by the look of it.
Yeah, 1mm. It's a sample of the one that we've got over there. It's just goes to show how different colours can create different looks.
Yeah, that's almost exactly. Yeah, isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah, and the point is, it's got a hidden clasp, so the whole way is when you wear it, it looks like a cuff, but obviously it's clasped as well. So
yeah, let's see that quickly. This one here, you learn how to make this gorgeous cuff with this hidden clasp. Isn't that amazing? That's just so lovely.
It just gives that sort of little bit of extra detail as well.
Yeah.
And we also have the wire sculpture pendant on there as well, which is sort of, there's a sample of it there, but it's just taking it that little bit level up again.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And these are great gift ideas as well if you want to get this for somebody for their birthday or for dare I say, you know, Christmas time. It's a great little attribute to have. So this one's £4.95 as well. These DVDs really are just fantastic. And when you finish with them, you can either keep them or you can give them away or you can sell them on, whatever you want to do with them. It's entirely up to you. Now, it's a free phone number from a BT landline, or you can get involved on our website, which is jewellerymaker.com. Now, the basics of working with wire. You get lots of basic techniques on these DVDs, of course, but how do you make something really basic like a wrapped loop?
Yep, I will show you quickly how we do that. Okay, so I'm going to use the 0.6 wire for this because again, this is the 0.6 here, and you can just see how lovely and flexible it is. You can really pull it, and it's got a lovely movement to it. But you'll find it will go through most beads as well, because one thing we have to take into account, especially pearls are the biggest one, that they have quite a small drill hole. So obviously you need to use that gauge that will go with that. So 0.6 fits through most beads. So I'm just going to get one from a little secret stash. Okay, and we can just use, they come in the kit, just normal cutters, and they come in the basic starter kit. So just going to snip a length, okay. What we'll do is taking around those pliers. We want to go, well, there's no specific length that you take really. You look at the size of the bead, you know, this is probably too much, but I'd rather have a little bit too much.
Yeah, of course.
You know, take any of your extras and put them to one side. So I'll just go a little bit down the actual wire, just, you know, an inch or so. And all I'm going to do is I'm just rolling it with my pliers. So when I take it off, I've got like a loop.
Yeah, we can see that. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is put my pliers back in, and now with my thumb and my finger, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort of straighten the wire. So if you look at it now, when you see it now, it's actually got like a little kick to it, so it looks a lot like an eye pin at the moment.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
You know, you could cut that off and you've got an eye pin, or you know. So what I'm going to do now, put my pliers back in. I'm taking the short length of wire, so I'm just going to pull it, and again, you can see how lovely and flexible this wire is. I'm just using my fingers, and just pull it around, and what I want to do is wrap it around a couple of times, 2 or 3 times. A little trick to remember is try to keep the look consistent. If you're going to do 2, make sure with every single one that you do, you always do 2, because then it'll make the look.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to snip it with the pliers. Okay, now if you probably can't see that, but you can feel it more than see it. It's got a sharp edge if I don't flatten that. So what I'm going to do is take the flat nose pliers. Again, this is all just from the starter kit. And then what I'm going to do is just take that end, and I'm just going to gently squeeze and just kind of rock very gently with my hand. And then
what's that doing?
It's just taking away that sharp edge. It's just making it lie nice and flat, so it's less likely to catch. You can just tweak it about a little bit, and then you don't have an edge. Okay, so it's just a nice little sort of tip to remember.
Yeah, lovely.
Pop your bead on. So put the round nose pliers back in, and what I do is I just go sort of halfway down my pliers, and what I'm going to do is I'm holding it nice and tight. I'm just going to bend the wire back.
Okay.
Okay, and then take my pliers out, and then I've got like a little gap now between my bead.
Yeah.
Pop my pliers back in so that one of them are on top, and what I'm going to do is just bring this wire all the way over.
Yeah.
Just rotate my pliers, and then I've got a loop. And now, because I did that little gap, I can just wrap the wire straight down.
Yeah.
And then I've already got that gap. If I didn't have that little ridge, I wouldn't have been able to have done the wrap.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could leave it like this and you could cut it. And if I cut it there, I'll have a nice simple little link. Or you could take the wire, if you've got a long length, around the bead a little bit more.
Do a bit of wire wrapping,
Do a bit of wire wrapping. Wrap it off here. You know, this is what I said about the fun of wire, that you can really just have a bit of fun with it. Just whichever end you're going to do, as long as you're happy with it. When you're happy where it is, cut it again nice and close. Just be careful that you do only cut that wire and that you don't snip the loop. And it sounds a bit silly, but it's easily done.
I bet it's happened before, yeah.
And then again, just give it a nice little squeeze to make sure there's no sharp edges, and now you have a nice little decorated beaded link.
Gorgeous, that's stunning. Lovely.
Okay, and that's
the details on the screen at the minute are for 100 metres of the scarlet red coloured coloured wire. I wonder if I've got an example of it here. Actually, it's absolutely beautiful, the scarlet red coloured wire.
Go and get it?
Yeah, of course you can, yeah. So it's 100 metres of the 0.6mm gauge scarlet red coloured copper wire. It's absolutely good. Here it is, brilliant. It's such a beautiful shade of red, isn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. You can make the most beautiful pieces with this. It's seriously vibrant. Can you imagine this with some black gemstones? Just this and some black gemstones would look absolutely gorgeous. It's like wearing red lipstick or red nail varnish, isn't it? It's just gorgeous. So, details on the screen are for this spool of 100 metres of red coloured copper wire, and this is your price, £14.95. I think what's really, really great about getting 100 metres of wire is that because you've got 100 metres of wire, you become less precious over it.
Yeah.
It's not a spool of 10 metres or 5 metres or a length of 1 metre. It's 100 metres, so you're more inclined to just have a play with it, have a go with it. And that's exactly what I'd encourage you to do. Have a go with it, have a play with it. You've got 100 metres of wire to work with here. And if you're going to come in and get any gauge of wire today, I can't urge you enough to come in and get the 0.6mm gauge. It's probably one of the most versatile gauges that we have here, isn't it?
You can pretty much do most things with that. And again, it's a really good practice wire. So even if you do, some things do need, say, the 0.8 wire, you can still practice on the 0.6 until you feel confident enough to go out to that slightly stronger wire. You can still make rings with 0.6. All I'd say is just use a couple more wraps around the shank just to give it a bit more strength. So it's just little things like that. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely, like you say, the practice is perfect. And also you don't, just to create things as well.
Yeah, gorgeous. So you were talking a couple of seconds ago about rings. Gemstone rings are always massively, massively popular. Wirework rings are always massively, massively popular. a ring is a piece of jewellery that when you wear it, you can see it all the time. If you wear a pair of earrings or if you wear a necklace, you can't always see it unless you look in a mirror. Whereas a ring is something which you'll see when you're driving the car, when you're walking the dog, when you're writing a cheque, when you're having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. It's something which you're always going to see. Also, with wirework rings that incorporate gemstones in here, it's a great way of using up the odd gemstone that you might have. You might only have a couple of gemstones left from a certain kit or a project you've been working on. You want to make a ring out of it. It's the natural thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
And making rings is actually extremely simple, but there is something which you definitely have to have if you're going to be making a wirework ring. First of all, it's wire, but secondly, it's the ring mandrel. You have to have a ring mandrel. It's an absolute essential, isn't it, Laura?
It's definitely. And I mean, to be honest with you, I have 2 or 3 because I'm constantly putting them down and can't find it, or trying to find another one. And I don't know where I'd be without my ring mandrel because I use it so much. Yeah, it's brilliant. And these ones come in a lovely little black case, so they're brilliant to just go in your bag. They're protected, so it's really good. And there's lots of little tips. So if you're going to use a ring mandrel, they're sized, and the smallest size is a G, and it goes right up to a Z. And so they're sized, so you can make sure that you've got that, that perfect size for somebody. If they've asked for it in a certain size, you can make sure that you can get it. It's also good if someone doesn't know their ring size, you can just say, well, just pop your ring on here, and then we can work with that. But a little tip that I would say with a ring mandrel is I would always go up 2 sizes than the ring that than the size that you actually want. So obviously, if you want an M, you need to sort of go up to an O, because when you do wirework rings, it will naturally shrink down just because you're working with it. It moves up and down. You wrap the wire around it. So always go up 2 sizes as a minimum. If you're doing a very wire-based one and you're going to do lots of sort of wrapping around it, then maybe even go up 3. Just to have that extra.
Yeah, it is a fantastic tool. It is an essential. If you are going to be making rings, you have to have a ring mandrel.
You do.
And we know it's an essential tool. You know it's a real essential tool when it comes to making rings. So we've actually priced it accordingly. This ring mandrel is, I think, one of the biggest bargains you will get from JewelleryMaker. Do try this out. Give us a call. It's $12.95. It's amazing how hard wearing it is as well, isn't it, Laura? And you can use it time and time again. It comes in a gorgeous little carry case. It is something which you will find you will be using in 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years time. It's just never going to wear out, is it?
No, and again, it's also handy if you want to do shapes. You've got this.
Absolutely,
you've got it here. You can just do, if you want to do a link or something out of the wire. I mean, I've done that before. Just bent it around the actual ring mandrel because it's that easy and it's nice and sturdy. And if you are going to make a ring, I will just give another bit of advice is to if you take the ring and sort of twist it gently around down, you can actually stretch it to the size that you've been aiming for. And you can sort of size it a little bit bigger sometimes because the wire does give. But don't just sort of hit it and ram it. You have to just, kind of twist it.
Tease it, yeah.
And so it's really good for that as well.
Fantastic, that's absolutely awesome. Now, we do have a different style of mandrel as well. Now, this one is something which I know that you use a lot on your wirework course, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
This is awesome, this mandrel. Talk to us a little bit about this, Laura, because it's such an unusual looking tool. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Sometimes you can look at it and think, oh, what do I do with this? But it's got so many uses. Again, you can create rings with it because it basically starts off up to here are all circles, so all round shapes. Then you have ovals here, then you have squares, and then you have triangles. So you can create some really lovely shapes with this, and again it's the consistency because you've got that same size, and it gives that consistency. And I love using these smaller ends for making my own earring findings and my own clasps as well.
Lovely idea.
Because they're really perfect size, and again it's that consistency as well. And so I find I use it for that, I use it for making my own rings. But it's also really good as well is if you wrap the wire around a couple of times and then pull it out, you've got like triangle sort of shaped dangles that you can hang over earrings. It's really, really versatile.
Yeah, just awesome. And you can kind of take it apart, can't you?
Yeah.
You can kind of take it apart in the centre there. So there are just so many. It's such a multifunctional tool. This is what we do at JewelleryMaker. We try and make everything as multifunctional and as versatile as we possibly can. This is another one of these incredible tools, which I just urge you to get. Just have a play with it. We want you to be as creative as possible, and just by getting that 100-metre spool of red wire, and if you come in to get the ring mandrel and then this mandrel as well, your designs, you will just see your designs just elevate so easily, and all that hard work's been done for you. You don't have to worry about getting exactly the same size and the same shape, because we've done all that for you with this mandrel here. And this is another one which is a really fantastic deal, a fantastic price. Give us a call when you can. Don't forget, it's a free phone number from a BT landline, or get involved on our website, which is jewellerymaker.com. There's your code, and this is your incredible price here. Absolutely gorgeous. Do try this out. £2.95p. It's one of those things which is just an add it to your order price, isn't it? It's not going to break the bank, and it's only £2.95p per order as well, so you can keep on adding to your order all day, and it's just £2.95p. This is really lovely. I think it's fantastic, because it takes all that hard work out. Having to measure the sides of a wire square that you want to make, you can just look at this. You can just wrap it around there, and you know you've got that exact shape that you might have been looking for. Just gorgeous. Right. Okay. Now, moving on. I'm sorry, darling. Oh, the hammer and block. Fantastic. Oh. Now, this is something which every time we get this in at JewelleryMaker, it always sells out. They're two separate tools, and they're so fantastically useful, and it can well, what has the hammer and block done to your wire work? How has it changed your wire work?
Oh, it just changes the look so completely when you hammer things. First of all, it strengthens the wire as well, so it gives it more of a solid shape, so it's really handy. It will just make it that little bit more sturdy again, but if you really hammer it, you can flatten it, and then it creates a completely different look, and then you can texture it. So you can use the other side of the hammer, and you can actually texture it so it actually looks like a textured piece of metal. And I've created my own sort of like dangles, you know, as part of a necklace, and you have these little textured dangles hanging down, and it's just amazing. So the hammer itself, it's an unusual hammer, isn't it? Because it's got a rounded, it's got a flat end on it, and it's got a rounded end as well. I've been told this is great for doming. If you're going to be using maybe either sheets of maybe some of our copper clay or metal clay, it's really multifunctional. You can do some gorgeous pieces with this. Can you show us how you use this? What gauge of wire can you use with the hammer and block? Well, I would never go lower than a 0.8, to be honest, because it will break. That is obviously one thing to remember. If you're making your own findings, then you can lightly hammer the sort of 0.6, but only very lightly, and that is just to give it a bit of strength, but very light. 0.8 you can hammer, but 1 mil is the best to hammer, because it's stronger and it can take it. Okay, so sorry when it stops spinning. This is what happens when you open a new roll of wire. So just so that you're prepared. Okay, so obviously what you can do is just by running your fingers along it, all I'm doing is just straightening it, and you can see how it's taking shape. So what I'm going to do is make sure you keep your fingers out of the way, and I know that sounds quite obvious, but obviously
it's a good point.
It has happened. I've hammered my own fingers and it's not very nice. And so what you need to do is hold it nice and close to the edge, so you've got it in the middle, and just hit it really hard.
Oh, you can see the wire.
And straight away,
changing.
You can see, it's that one hit, it's flattened the wire.
Yeah.
And giving it a completely different look.
It has, hasn't it? It's more of an antique look, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's more of a hammered look.
Yeah, and it will slightly...
Gosh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it will slightly dull it because
they're laughing at me in there. All right, yes, I know she's just hammered it, right.
So just do a couple more hammers. Gets a bit noisy.
That's okay.
Now you can see how it's changed it again.
It's not just the shape, it's the actual look of it as well. It's really interesting.
And then I'll show you a little trick. You turn the hammer over and using the round end, just lightly hammer it, and you probably won't be able to see this too clearly. You probably could if you're up close. It's just got a very slightly...
Yeah, you can see the kind of textured edge on it. It's really lovely.
Isn't that beautiful? You can see it a lot better, obviously, up close, but Yeah, so that's how you can texture it, and it does hold its colour. I mean, I've hammered that quite a lot, and you can see it's held its colour pretty well. I'll show you another.
Presumably, if you made maybe a coil or a spiral, you could hammer that as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant for making hammered coils. Again, you can have that hanging off of a necklace, and it just.
And would you coil it and then hammer it?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And a little tip is. Never hammer anything that's crossed. So if you've got like a wrapped loop or anything like that, and you want to hammer the round part of the loop, don't hit where it's wrapped, because it will weaken and it will break.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just little things like that.
Good tip.
And if you've got something little that you want to hammer, I'll just show you very quickly, so I'll just make a very quick
this is all great to see. Details on your screen at the minute for the chasing hammer. It really is awesome. It comes, it's JewelleryMaker branded, really fantastic tool. This is the kind of tool that really, this is the kind of tool that you will need to get from JewelleryMaker, as opposed to going down your local DIY shop.
Definitely.
You know, it's a very different tool to, say, the hammer that you hammer nails in with at home. It's $7.95. It's a specific chasing hammer for making jewellery. It's a very specialist hammer that you're going to be getting here, and $7.95, absolutely wonderful. It's just got a much it's not as severe, I don't think, as the kind of hammers that you get from the DIY shop. It's a lot less
it's specialised to do what it's you know, that's what it's for. But I will also say that these are very good quality, because I bought one a long time ago before Jane was around, and this part actually comes off. And I spent a lot more on it as well.
You know what, one
so
of those.
this is really, I mean, it's almost like it's glued. This isn't going to go anywhere. So I just wanted to show you quickly, if you have got a small piece that you can't actually hold, please do not try and hammer something like this and hold it, because you are quite likely to hurt yourself. So all I'd say is, if you've got it like that, just what you want to do is be quick and sort of just hammer it like that. And then you're still getting the hammer.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and then you've got that really nice hammered look. And you can see I haven't hurt myself or anything like that. So that's just a little tip. If you want something that's little, that's too little to actually hammer, then just do it like that. And I'll just very quickly show, when you're to get sort of like a plain, sort of like spread out paddle look, if you hit it, when you hit it, if you can kind of swipe, so if you do this motion when you actually hit it, it should give a different effect. So, well,
oh yeah,
and it'll kind of give it a sort of a wider look.
it does. Yeah, that's incredible. Now, Laura, why are you using a metal block? Why can't I use my kitchen table?
Because you'll probably end up denting it.
Probably.
So, yeah, it definitely, if you do have the hammer, you really do need the steel block to go with it. Because you can't just hammer on everything, because you will end up damaging surfaces. And I would just put something underneath it, like a little beading mat or something, just to soften whatever's underneath it as well. You know, unless you're using like a little tea table or something like that.
This is about as industrial as JewelleryMaker gets. This is a block of steel. Okay, this is a block of steel which you know, if you're going to be hammering wire, if you're going to be doing if you're going to be using the chasing hammer at all, you will need a metal block like this. Now, it is extremely heavy. Okay, it's extremely. I mean, I can pick it up, but it's extremely heavy. You're not going to be penalised for that with P&P. You're only paying $2.95 P&P per order. It is the most fantastic. If you're going to be getting a chasing hammer for $7.95, you've got to come in and get the steel block as well. It's an absolute, it's an absolute essential. They just need to go together. It's £6.95. And I think is this yours, or is this a JewelleryMaker one?
No, this is a JewelleryMaker one.
I was going to say, this has been around. This has been around for years. It's been used by pretty much every single guest designer.
And it's still going strong.
And the steel block is still as great as the day that they were brand new. These kind of things are built to last. $6.95. Add it onto your order. It's just a fantastic way of taking wire to just down a different avenue. It's not taking it up a next level. It's just kind of taking it down a different avenue. It's not more advanced. It's something which you can do if you've never picked up a piece of wire before. Fantastic. And you can make it as simple or as advanced as you want, which is just absolutely wonderful. Speaking about different avenues, sorry, I'm just dipping off camera there, sorry. This is awesome. This has changed JewelleryMaker. This is your wire wrapping jig. This is such a lovely tool to use, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant, and it's again, it's really good for consistency. So it's if you're one of these people that, you know, like to have symmetry and like every link to be the same and every, you know, you want it to be perfect, then it's really good because you can set out your pattern and then you just repeat it every time and you will always have that same pattern.
Yeah.
And again, then you can combine it with the hammer and block and hammer the link, and then you've got a nice, strong, sturdy link. So
I'm the most untidy person with making pieces of jewellery and making them symmetrical and making this one the same as that one. This is a real godsend for me because you don't have to think about, right, that's got to be exactly the same as that. You can just get on with the really fun stuff, which is the being creative part of it.
Yeah.
So how do you go about using this, Laura? Just talk us through what you how you can use the jig.
Really simple. So it comes with these little pegs, and it's got a couple of different size ones, and so you've got a lot of these littler ones, and they're all the same sort of size. I don't know the size, but they're all the same. And then you have these 4 that are all slightly different sizes, and they're really good for giving, like I say, different shapes and sizes really. So what you do is you just place them on the actual jig, and you've there are patterns as well that come with it. It comes with an instruction sheet, and there are a couple of little simple patterns on there that you can use. And you can actually just use them as a guide, and then once you're confident with that, you can start creating your own. Yeah, they were done on a jig. It's just simple
these earrings
pattern,
were, weren't they?
but it gives it a consistency that, you know, if you used your pliers, you wouldn't get that same size. So yeah, you could sort of do anything you want really, and then once you're happy with the pattern that you've placed, you simply wrap a piece of wire, do a little loop, pop it on here, and then just wrap your wire around it, finish it off, and then slide it up, and it really is
fantastic.
That easy. And again, 0.6 is really lovely for that because it's got that flexibility that lets you wrap it around nicely, but holds its shape as well.
And these earrings here you've made using the jig, haven't you?
Yeah,
it's just a very, very simple swirl pattern. And if you want to get that symmetry from earring to earring, you know, then this is the way to go. This is just a couple of the patterns that are in the jig, which you're going to be getting free with the jig, which is lovely. So as Laura says, once you're more confident, you can start making your own patterns. What gauge of wire have you used in this particular pair of earrings? 0.6.
Yeah, and I actually did the hooks using one of the larger pieces. So you can just pop the large one in there, and then one of the smaller ones, and then you just do the loop, and again, then you have a nice.
Could you give us a quick example of these hooks?
Yeah, sure.
That would be lovely to see.
Okay. So
it's brilliant because I can actually see how you've done it from looking at the jig there, but just seeing it in form, that would be absolutely wonderful. Just pop it up there a little bit, Laura, if that's okay.
Okay.
There you go. Perfect.
So what I'm going to do is, using again my round nose pliers, I'm just going to create a loop, because this loop is going to slide over the smaller peg. Don't worry about it too much because you can always tweak it. So there you go, it just goes on just like that. So I've just sat it on. I'll just move my hand. There you go, and then you simply bring the wire all the way around, and I literally pull it so it meets. So it's actually meeting there. And then when you slide it off, you've got the rough shape, and then you just tweak it a little bit. And then when you're happy, oops,
flying wire
flies off. You've got a nice, and then taking the pliers. Oh.
And that's so much easier than sitting and having to measure and painstakingly making them all by hand. That's so much easier. It saved you so much time.
And how quick was that?
That's really quick.
And then I would lightly hammer quickly with my block.
Of course you would.
Then I'd have
obsessed with a hammer.
I am a bit obsessed.
No, but it's so useful. It just makes such a difference. It work hardens all the wires.
It would harden it, being that slightly thinner wire.
That's just great, isn't it? This this plastic jig is something which is really a great avenue to go down. It's completely different to anything else which we can offer you here on JewelleryMaker. And the great thing about this, it's got instructions with it. It's a really, really easy way. I think it's actually got wire in it as well. It's a really, really easy way of making wire do what you want it to do, and in a very, very simple way. This is your price. $5.95. It's one of the biggest selling products that we have on JewelleryMaker. Every single time we reorder it back into stock, it sells out. So that's absolutely incredible. Now, give us a call when you can, or get involved on our website. Everything you're seeing today is something which has been specially selected. It's very, very popular. Nothing that we're going to be showing you today is more popular than this next incredible tool. It is, of course, the Wirework Gizmo. Now, I want to show you a couple of examples of Gizmo Wirework. It really is. What is it about the gizmo that people love so much, Laura? Is it the?
Well.
I mean, I don't know. Oh, yeah, perfect example of gizmo wirework. Look at this. What is it that you think people love about it so much?
I think it gives a really dramatic look, and it looks really bold, and you think, wow, that's got to be really hard. There's no way I could do that. And actually, it's really quite easy to use, and I think that's what people love about it, is that it gives a really complicated look, but actually it's very easy to use. The technique is really easy, and you can just go to town with the designs that you can, you can make beads out of it. You can just make it's just a simple bit of coiling, and it just
And you can actually you can actually create and achieve a very, very neat look with gizmo wirework. If you're not neat, I'm not neat at all in the slightest. But gizmo wirework allows you to achieve a much, much neater finish to your work. Show us how you use the gizmo, Laura, because this is fascinating. Now, as soon as you see the graphics on the screen, I'd urge you to, in fact, I'd urge you to start calling now.
Yeah.
Every single time we've had this in stock, we must have had this in stock about, well, over a dozen times, and every single time it's in stock, it sells out. You must have done live shows before where you've launched the gizmo and it's sold out there and then on the live show.
Yeah, definitely.
This always happens, and it's because it's so easy, so versatile, and it's really inexpensive. So it's a very simple tool, this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is really all it is. It's this little part here, and it's got technical name,
exactly?
But it's got a little hole at the bottom, and so what you can do is you can screw it to a piece of wood if you don't feel comfortable using your hand. You know, it's got lots of things that you can do with it. It comes with 2 rods, and they've both got their own holes. So you've got a small hole, and then you've obviously got a large hole.
You can also get a clamp from a DIY shop and clamp it to the side of your kitchen table, or clamp it to a work surface if you want to do it that way. But you can, once you get really, really good at it, you can start using it just by holding it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll show you how it's done holding it. And so obviously the thinner wire is going to create different looks. So the thicker and the thinner rods are good for that. And again, 0.6, perfect for this.
So 0.6 is
it really is a staple.
It is. It's an amazing spool.
So what I'm going to do is I don't cut any of the wire. Okay, I keep it attached to the spool. And what we do is this little sort of U here is used for wrapping. You wrap the wire a couple of times.
So kind of, you're anchoring it to the gizmo,
The only reason I've wrapped it that much is because I don't want it to get in my way when I'm twirling it. So then,
is that a technical term?
It is.
Twirling it.
That's what we wire workers call it. Twirling. Okay, so obviously what we need to do is you just need to keep a bit of tension. So holding it in my hand, what I'm doing is I don't know if you can see how I'm holding it, but I've got the wire in between my finger and my thumb.
So you can feed it through.
And so
almost.
I'm feeding it through. I'm holding it quite tight so that I can feed it through. What I would probably normally do is have this on the floor, because then it's got that weight.
You can feel the tension then, can't you?
Yeah, so I would have it on the floor, but just to show. And so all we do is so simple, is you just nice and close to the edge of the actual mandrel.
So you're actually clamping it in your hands. You're clamping it between the gizmo and the...
Obviously.
Awesome.
Bear with me 2 seconds.
That's okay. So you've got two different gauges here. You can see the slightly larger hole, which is above the hole which Laura's using there, and that's if you want to create a thicker coil of wire. You'll see this coil forming in just a couple of seconds. Well, there we go. It's starting to form now.
You just have to play about it so you're comfortable with it in your hand. I've got it, so I'm holding the wire nice and tight in my hand. It's because I haven't got it dropping on the floor. So I'm holding it nice and tight, and then you have it nice and close to the edge of the actual bit, and then you just literally hold it nice and tight, and you just coil, and that will just you'll have a coil done up so quickly.
So it forms right next to the bracket, and as it gets larger and larger, this has got to be one of the fastest selling tools we've ever had on JewelleryMaker.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if you go wrong, so what you can do is, I mean, we've all done it, not paying attention, and then you've skipped it. So if you see there, I've not paid attention, so I've kind of gone back over.
Yeah, we can see that.
All right, so it's easy enough. All you do is pull it until you're happy with it. Hold it, and even if it's kinked the wire, don't worry about it, because it will just go back into the coil.
It's a really forgiving wire, isn't it? It's very, very malleable.
And if you have a little gap, like I've got a little tiny gap there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just squidge it. And again, yes, that is
another
a technical term
there, squidge.
And as you go, it will just form. and then you just keep
Isn't
going.
that gorgeous? I love that red wire as well. It looks amazing with that red wire. Don't forget that's $14.95 if you want to add that onto your order. 100 metres of your 0.6mm gauge wire.
Now that's pretty much it. And I mean, obviously we have DVDs that show you how you can take it all that further then, how to finish it off. You can either leave a little tail.
And just hold that in front of the camera there, just so we can see the kind of effect that you get. It's beautiful, isn't it? Smooth, it's got lots of texture. It's just lovely, lovely, lovely wire work, and it's so simple to do. This is the beauty of working with the gizmo. It's so simple to do.
And then you just slide it off.
Yeah. And then it's ready to go, ready to use as the shank on a ring, ready to use in a bracelet, in a necklace, in earrings. Yeah. You're not going to be able to believe the price. If you've never worked with gizmos before, this is almost definitely going to sell out on this show today. Here is your deal, £5.95p.
Madness.
That's why the gizmo is so popular, isn't it? Let's face it, it is the most amazing, amazing, amazing tool. And every single time we get it in stock, it sells out. Now, I've got a really, really great... Now, we're going to do all these DVDs together. Ah, brilliant. Okay, so we're going to show these individually. We've got Gizmo Wirework DVDs. Now, did you film these or was it Rachel?
No, I didn't. It was Rachel.
We've got we've got lots of different experts here. One of our other wirework experts is a lady called Rachel Norris. She specialises in a lot of gizmo wirework, and this particular DVD, again, one of our hour-long DVDs, where you're going to learn at least 6 different techniques there. Really lovely heart technique there. Isn't that lovely? I bet that's a nice simple one to do, actually, isn't it? A nice starter one. You're going to be getting, like I say, an hour's worth of techniques on this incredible DVD, and it's going to be the most amazing price as well. Details at the bottom of your screen there for £4.95p, so a really fantastic Gizmo Wirework Basics DVD. Details are at the bottom of your screen there, okay, so you can see those details and that code there, and that's yours for £4.95. We've also got Gizmo Wirework Projects Edition 1. I wonder in 5 or 6 years' time, how many more project DVDs we're actually going to have. It's never ending, isn't it? Gizmo work and wire work. It really is never ending, and it's so simple. So this is edition 1 for your Gizmo Wirework projects, as opposed to your basics. Another great DVD to have, and again, this one here, £4.95p. So add it to your order. The code's at the bottom of your screen there, less than a £5. You really can't put a price on knowledge like this, can you, Laura? It's amazing, isn't it?
No, I mean, a lot of places you can, there's a lot of places out there that you can buy and pay for tutorials. And you pay more than that for one. Then on these DVDs you're getting 6, and you've got that person there that you can actually physically see what they're doing. So for that, like you say, it's very visual. Yeah, you can pause it, rewind it, you can fast forward it. Great Gizmo Wirework rings here. This has always been a very, very popular thing. They look like seashells or seahorses. They're beautiful, aren't they? This is Gizmo Wirework Projects Edition 2. Another great DVD here, and again, less than a £5. Code for this one is ZFMP03. Just add that to your order. So simple and easy to do, and don't forget it's only £2.95p per order, which is great. Right, fantastic. Now, this is something which I have never seen before, but I know that we've brought it to you before on JewelleryMaker a couple of times, and again, every single time we bring it to you, it sells out. It is, of course, the Lazy Daisy. This is one of JewelleryMaker's brand new products. This is pretty amazing. This has revolutionised JewelleryMaker, hasn't it? Your eyes lit up. I know.
It is amazing, isn't it? What is it that you love so much about this, about the Lazy Daisy?
Well, I love how easy it makes it. I mean, the Viking knit itself is actually pretty easy to do, and this tool just makes it all completely so easy for you. You don't have to make your own little top for it because it's got that already. It makes joining on wire so easy. You just thread it through. I mean, it's all actually in the instructions as well, which is again really convenient. The end of it, the actual tool, I've got one here, it's actually got a cone shape on it, so that you can see there I've actually created cones, and that's actually just using the cone shape at the end of the Lazy Daisy, and that's what it's actually for. It's even got a hole for you to thread through and anchor it. So it's just brilliant, and it comes in a little carry case. It comes with a little pin. It even comes with little cutters.
How cute
for you
is
to
that?
cut your wire. And it also comes with wire, so it's got a little bit of a sample wire in there, copper wire.
Yeah, is this one? I don't think this one's locked shut. I might just get the tools
and a gizmo.
out.
It comes with a little gizmo rod as well.
How fantastic is this? It comes with some instructions.
Yeah.
Comes with a gizmo. It's even sellotaped the instructions, so you're never going to lose those. So there's your instructions and your gizmo. You're also going to be, and this is the first time I've ever seen this. Oh, I've got a pink carry case.
I've got a blue one.
You've got a blue one. I've got a pink one.
Swap it.
So you've got your pink carry case, or whatever colour you're going to be getting. Yep. You've got 25 feet of wire here.
What wire is it?
Absolutely fantastic. There it is. You've also got a pin here. What's this pin for?
That pin is actually really helpful, because what it does is when you've got the wire and the weave coming down on the tool, sometimes the wires get really close to there and you can't feed your wire underneath it. So you just literally feed that underneath the wires, it lifts it up,
fantastic.
And then you can carry on and it separates it. So it really is really handy.
You've got a felt mat as well.
Well, the felt mat's actually a conditioning mat, and what it's for is once you've completed the weave, I'll just show you.
Yeah, please do.
On this one, this one's been finished off and everything else, but what you do is before you pull it through the draw plate, which is the final thing you're going to show, you put it in here and then you just roll it, and it just basically settles all the wire and settles any links, you know, just gives it it settles it all into its place.
Isn't that fascinating?
So you roll it just like this, and then when you've done that, then it's ready to be drawn through the draw plate.
That's fantastic. You've got, well, this is what you wrap the wire around.
Yeah.
And you've got your cutters here, and this is your draw plate.
That's the draw plate, and that's what does all the magic.
Isn't that awesome? Isn't that fantastic? So can you show us how the draw plate actually works?
I can. I can show you how to start the knit, and then I can explain.
Well, that would be great, because this is just such an amazing tool. This is something which is really new to JewelleryMaker. I've never seen it before. It's
only been launched twice, and both times it just went bang.
I'm fascinated. Yeah, we've only had it on a couple of times on the show, and each time it has sold out. So okay, how do you do this? I'm all ears.
It's really easy. So all I've done is I've cut off a nice little length. You don't want too much, because when you're actually using it, if you've got a really long length, it makes it a bit more fiddly, and it's so easy to attach on, you don't need it. So what I'm going to do is what you'll see here, there's a hole, a high and a low hole. Okay, a high and a low. So what we're going to do is thread the wire through the top hole so that it comes out the lower hole, and then just have a short end.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so then I press that, and hold it nice and flat. Then with the other wire, which is why we don't want it to be too long, you'll see now. At the top here, this is the actual daisy part, and this actually comes out. Okay, so what we do is it's actually got 6 holes in it, and those 6 holes, you can go anything from 4, 5 and 6. You can go higher, but not on this one. So you've got 4, 5 and 6, and that just creates a different type of look of chain. So this one here has been done with a 4 loop, and I will just show quickly a 4 loop. So what I'm going to do is feed the wire through one of the loops, and I'm just going to feed it. This is 0.6 I'm using. I probably would use 0.4, just that bit softer, but 0.6 is perfectly fine for it as well. So what I've done is, if you see here, now what I'm doing, I'm obviously doing this a little bit quicker than I normally would.
No, that's okay, that's fine, just to get the idea of it.
Just to give you the idea, and again, the instructions are in there. So all I've done now is I've gone through 2 holes next to each other, so I've gone up and then brought the wire back down,
You've gone
through
up
the
again.
hole and back down. So now, because I only want to do a 4 hole, I'm going to skip a hole, and I'm just going to bring the wire up.
Through there.
Through.
Gosh, this is so simple. I'm definitely going to get one of these.
Don't worry about how this wire looks at the top, because this is only going to be cut off, so don't worry about that. If it's looking a bit wobbly, don't worry. Bring the wire down, and then back through here. And this is the bit that's just securing it. So there we go. So if you can see, I've got 2 on this side and 2 on this side, okay? So that's all I'm going to do. Now I'm going to start the actual weave. So taking this wire, again, this is where this little pin comes in handy. I'm going to just lifting it up so I can get the wire underneath. If you can see, all I've done is just put the pin underneath it so that I can get the wire underneath it. And there's like a cross. The wire goes over as a cross there. What I'm going to do is just feed the wire behind it and pull. I don't want to pull it too hard, so I don't want a really tight tension. And then this one here, I'm going to repeat the same underneath.
Wow.
And pull. And I'm not pulling it too tight, So I want nice size.
And it's a nice regular design that you're making here. It's nothing too complicated. It's a repetitive design, isn't it?
So easy.
Yeah, it really
is. If you've got
is.
kids who sat down on a sofa, they don't know what you're doing, it's fine. And again, look, I'm just going to use this pin again now just to loosen
it.
that.
I can see what that pin's for now.
Yeah, it's really handy. And then, oops, thread it and pull it. And then this one. And that's it basically. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go under this loop, the first loop that we did. So obviously we're going to repeat that. Let me make sure I can see it. Pull, and then you basically keep going.
That is just lovely.
Always going underneath that, you know, through the cross of the one above it.
The Lazy Daisy that you're going to be getting here does come with instructions. You will be able to find instructions on the internet, and there's loads and loads of different projects which you can follow in this particular kit. I'm absolutely fascinated by this. This is just amazing.
Once you know what you're doing and you're sort of on a roll, and this is using the 0.6 wire, so you can see how nice and flexible it is.
Once you get going, there's no stopping you. It's amazing.
And then you just keep going, and then all we're doing is, so I'm just going to do one or two more.
Yeah, please do.
Just want to try and get a length enough to be able to pull it through, because as you can see, it's quite big when it comes off of here. And then I'm just going to keep going. And then I won't show you how you add it on, but the instructions are in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it like that. So what I'm going to do is I've just slid that off just like that, even though it had the wire going through it.
Oh, it did, didn't it? Yeah.
Just slide it off, and then you can, I'm actually going to use the cutters that come with it.
Oh, fantastic.
So you just snip it, okay? And what you would do is you actually snip.
Oh, yeah, so you just literally cut that bit off, don't you? You said you were going to do that.
The top part off, and then that will come out. Obviously, I am doing this a bit super fast.
That's okay.
And it would be a bit neat, but look how neat that is.
Isn't that beautiful?
Tuck one in. And then what we do is you find the one that it would go for. Obviously, you'd have a lot more than I currently have, and you would finish it off slightly better than I currently have.
Just show us slowly how that goes through there. Ah.
But what you would have is you would put some wire in and create a little pull, and then you've got something to pull it through. But basically, you put it through here, and then you shrink it down with each one it goes into.
Oh my goodness me, that is amazing.
I mean, I would have put a cross of wire in. In fact, I will quickly, just to show you.
And you're able to make it even smaller?
Yep. See, what I've done is I've just threaded them through the top
there you
couple
go.
of
So you're
holes.
putting the wire through the top, you're twisting it round.
And it gives me something to pull it on then.
Ah, okay, yeah.
And there are instructions for that. That's why I'm not going into too much detail.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But then now I can pull it through, because I've created that little...
That is amazing. Isn't that incredible?
If I just show you again.
Yeah, please do.
You just pull it through. And obviously, the more you go, the smaller you can go. Obviously, if you've got the thicker the wire, then it won't go right down to the thin
of course not, no.
And if you've got more loops, again, that's taken into account. And you'll go down, you'll know when you can't go any further, because it just won't budge. But yeah, and then that becomes a really nice fluid-like shape. And that was only a tiny little bit.
That's fantastic. Now, this incredible Lazy Daisy kit, it is something which, like the Gizmo, every single time we brought it to you, it has sold out. You're very lucky to be getting this on the show today. It's $34.95. Honestly, this is one of the biggest revolutions we've had here on JewelleryMaker. It has absolutely revolutionised people's jewellery. You're getting everything that you need to start making your Lazy Daisy jewellery. We've even thrown in some wire as well, so absolutely incredible. Wire really is the most incredible medium to work in. We're finding people, even as the first pieces of jewellery they've ever made, containing wire, just purely because it is such a versatile material to work with. Hopefully this introductory show has been really, really useful to you, and you feel that you've got the confidence now to get involved, maybe to get the jig, maybe to get the DVDs, the Gizmo, the Lazy Daisy, and start making these incredible pieces for yourself, because once you start working with wire, you never, ever, ever go back. You know, genuine gemstones will have a really, really special place in your heart, as I'm completely sure, but once you start working with wire, your jewellery will never be the same again, will it?
No. But to use the genuine gemstones with the wire just takes it up that extra level as well.
It really does. It's going to make your kits go further, bundles go further. You'll find that you'll use more wire, less gemstones, so you can make even more, and you'll get even more for your money. Absolutely fantastic. We've got a huge selection of wire on our websites, which is jewellerymaker.com. We've got Wirework courses. I know that you do a Wirework course.
Yeah, we do the intermediate Wirework course.
Intermediate Wirework course. We do advanced Wirework, Wirework for beginners as well. All those courses are available to you. Give us a call on our free phone number and speak to our call centre or speak to Live Help and book on those courses because they are absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today, Laura. It's been really fascinating. We've had tools on here which I haven't seen before. The Gizmo, like I say, always sells out, so do add that to your order. It's such a great price as well. And the Lazy Daisy as well for $34.95 is something which always sells out. And don't forget the DVDs, they're only $4.95 each. We've got a whole library of them here at Jewellery Maker. We've got even more Wirework DVDs. If you want to add those to your order, then just speak to the call centre or Live Help. Now, if you do want to watch this show again, it will be on our YouTube channel, which is absolutely wonderful, along with loads of other demonstrations and hints and tips. You can go to our Facebook page where we've got over 11,000 fans who would love to give you ideas and hints and tips about how to use incredible wire. It's been amazing to see all this jewellery today, Laura. Thank you so much for bringing it in. I know you're really proud of it. We're so proud of our incredible jewellery as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. Take care and happy jewellery making.